Now look, I know what I said about window light and adding the extra light. We didn't do it today. We can. I don't think it's gonna add much. Let's see. Didn't really add much. Whatever. I know there's been so many Why? Text about some job description. Regardless, I know that for a long time you've seen me creating things with this, the Canon 7D. This camera has been so fun to create with, and today we're gonna talk about it. Let's get redone. I'm just kidding. Chill, Gerald. I'm not like trying to steal your swag.
Bad ex guy knock on the door, throw the package down, then he run away. I open up the door, pick the package up, and then forget to put my gun away. People look at me very confused by my long sleeves on a summer day. Only voice that I listen to is Guy. I don't care about what the numbers say.
Oddly enough, if we're being like 100% honest, there's other YouTubers that I watch more than Gerald Undone, but I've just been shouting him out recently for some reason. So you're welcome, and thank you for all the awesome and informal. Is it informal? Informant. Information-filled videos that you've created for us. Today we're talking about the Canon 7D. What is it that I love so much about this camera? In a nutshell, what I love is the It's kind of hard to say what you love about a camera that's so garbage, but oddly enough, what I love about this camera is that it's garbage. The joy that comes from nailing exposure or nailing even focus on a camera that doesn't give you those features. You don't have focus peaking. There's no little red things on the unless you use Magic Lantern. I have not hacked this with Magic Lantern yet because I wanted to like really have to try. That's what I love about it. It makes you have to try. You don't get to hide behind any specs because it has some of the softest 1080 footage that I've ever seen. If you want slow motion, you have to go all the way down to 720 or 480 or whatever is below 720. Is that half of 720? I don't know math. No, it's not half. No, but yeah, it's not very features packed. Canon 7D specs. Yeah, we just need the specs.
We need the specs.
On Adorama, you get it for $167, which to me is kind of a lot for this camera. On MPB, you can get it for $119. MPB is goated. They always have like the lowest prices. It has an 18 megapixel. It boasts, I don't know why they always say that it boasts. Like the camera's not boasting anything but being trash. Seriously, it has an 18 megapixel APS-C sensor. Yes, I'm reading this off my phone because I don't know any of this right offhand. The ISO expands to 12,800, but if you shoot anything at 12,800 on this camera, you probably won't use it. I wouldn't. It has a pentaprism viewfinder, whatever that means. 8 frames per second, continuous shooting on the photo side, which means if you get it up into that drive mode, let me figure out how to do that. I don't even know how to do that. You're not gonna be using that for sports probably, because you know people always want to know the weight. It weighs 860 grams. I don't know what that is in other measurements. It kind of feels like a tank if we're being honest. Like this combination is cinema camera heavy. Anyway, back to what I love about it. Everything that you shoot with this is just really soft. It has like a nostalgic vintage kind of look to it because it is from years ago now, 15 plus years ago now. I said that so confidently. I think that's right though, according to the last thing I looked up about it. For me, I feel like it just made me more aware of everything, of compositions, of exposure, because since it has such low dynamic range, 10.3 stops of dynamic range. Most cameras these days have 14, sometimes more than that, depending on what you're using, depending on what picture profile you're using. So with this, you don't have as much room and flexibility to play around with your exposure. So not only does it force you to be more mindful of your compositions, it also forces you to be more mindful of exposing on the fly. And if you shoot anything that's run and gun, such as weddings, which I shoot a lot of now, you have to make those decisions like drop of a hat, because moments are passing by, they're happening. You don't have the luxury to be fumbling around saying, oh, what do I want to do? What do I want to do? You literally just have to make the decision and live with it and hope that it was the right one. And at weddings, most of the time, the right decision is to expose for the subject. If you're second shooting a wedding, then maybe not, but you know, that's another video for another time. The other beautiful thing about this is, I don't know, it still takes amazing photos if you're a photographer. I don't really even know how to describe what it is I'm seeing. It's just it's a vibe, as people would say. And there's this trend now where a lot of people are destroying their footage. I say destroying, but they're using the de-hancers and all that stuff because they want that filmic look. I feel that if you want to look like that in camera, this is one option, not the only option obviously, but this will get you a look that is just from a different time. And then if you are able to pair it with vintage glass, which I haven't even tried because most of my adapters are for Sony, I can't imagine the kind of images you could get out of this thing. But right now, my only options for this specific camera are the Irix 45mm, a lens baby Burnseye 35mm, and then I have the kit lens that it came with, which is a 28 to 135 variable aperture, I believe 3.5 to 5.6. Not an incredible lens, but if it's the only thing you have, that means you can create, which is incredible on its own. So yeah, those are my thoughts on the Canon 7D. I still am trying to decide if I'm going to ever use Magic Lantern to hack this and get some more functionality out of it. I feel like the experience may be better. I mean, I'm sure it will be, but it has been interesting just using this bare bones version of the Canon 7D and just trying to make it do what it do. It's not easy, which, I mean, for me was just another reason that I loved creating with it, because it wasn't easy. I had to interject really quickly. This is feeling more and more like a really good purchase because I just found a website called Shot on What. And what it does is just tells you different attributes or specs about movies that you have enjoyed, movies and shows. I found out that the Canon 7D was used on Breaking Bad, which I know a lot of people like. It was also used on 127 Hours, which is a really cool film as well, James Franco. From what it says here, it was actually used on 62 different titles. So I haven't read the whole list. I'm not going to read it here. You can go check it out. You see it on the screen right now. But it just goes to show that you could have something really cool sitting on your shelf that is being used in like major motion pictures. And so for you to feel like even something this old isn't good enough for you to create with, it's kind of wild because literally the super professionals, like the people that you probably look up to or want to film like, have used these tools that are seen as less than in the consumer community. Also, this angle is filmed on the Canon 7D. Regardless, that was it. I just wanted to throw that in there. Okay, back to the rest of the video. Hopefully we keep it under 10 minutes. But yes, people have used this camera for short films and movies and all different kinds of things because I think they see too just the character that this camera has. And I believe that's what makes anybody buy any camera outside of YouTubers hyping up a camera and then people being like, I have to have it because this video said I did. And like, they're not telling you that you have to buy these things. They make it appealing and it does make you want to buy it, but you know, they're not out here like, you better buy this if you want to keep working in this field. So we just choose to spend irresponsibly sometimes, and you don't have to. Now, if you're somebody starting out in photography and video, either or, I can't say that I would recommend this camera. But if you don't have a great budget, meaning you have $500 or less, you could get into this system with a good lens for less than $500. And that I have to recommend, because if I could do it all over again, I may have started with something a little bit less than, rather than getting a super expensive camera, not knowing how to use it, and just out here, making a fool of myself. But yeah, that's all I got for you. Canon 7D is here to stay. Maybe not this one again, because I still haven't purchased this. It's still on loan, but at some point it might actually be mine, so we're gonna see. But until that time, like and subscribe, That's the only way it's gonna happen, is if you like and subscribe, so please do that for me. If you haven't, share it with a friend, and whatever else we do here on YouTube. Notification bell, that's a good thing if you wanna do that, because at some point these videos are just gonna be like, just coming out like every week. Not every week, but consistently throughout the year. Thank you for being here. Obviously, I know it's kind of fragmented. This is just all off the top, my honest review, but it gave me an opportunity to show you some of the things that I've shot with this. But yeah, until then,